Is this thing on? Okay, how you doing? Uh, my name is Michael Wilder. Everybody calls me Wilder, and this is my YouTube channel. Uh, call it Living Sober with Wilder. How about that? Uh, we're going to start out with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Well, so here's my story. My name is Michael Wilder. I'm 42 years old. I'm an addict. that's that's my story. There's so many other people out there with a story so close to mine. The details change, times, places, dates, they change. But bottom line is there's millions of us out there. And I do mean millions. Right now in the United States, there's 21 million Americans that have at least one addiction. And only 10% of them are receiving some kind of treatment. The drug overdose deaths have tripled since 1990. It's it's going out of proportion. Like right now in the United States, we're dealing with a coronavirus pandemic, and I mean, there's no antibiotics, vaccine, or anything they have to treat it. Just ventilators. Well, I'm sure they have antibiotics, but nothing 100%. And it's scary. It's scary. Look what it's done to America. But what about these numbers? 21 million Americans right now have at least one addiction. 10%, that's 2.1 million people are getting treated. That leaves another 18 million out there putting their life on the line just to feed an addiction they don't know why they have. Oh, sure, it starts out, I'll try this, I'll try that. Hey, yeah, let me have some of that there cocaine. Yeah, I mean, the stories are so close. They're almost all the same. Details change, but it's scary. Those numbers are huge. But anyway, we're doing trial by fire with this. I'm new to this. It's my first video, and I've been putting it off all day. I had a pretty exciting morning. I spilt like half a spoonful of coffee on my laptop, and well, my laptop is gone to heaven now. He's gone. So we're doing it with old desktop and a Samsung J7 phone recording on it. As the videos go on, I'll buy better equipment and so on and so on, and maybe even the quality of your host to get better. How about that? Sounds good, don't it? I hope so. I've been scared to death all day to do this, but I feel I have to. There's too many of us out there. I mean, I'm 27 days sober, and I'm going to stay sober. This is my accountability. This is what I have to do for me and my sobriety. Sobriety and recovery is different for each person, just like their salvation with God. Your salvation is different than mine because it's a personal relationship with God. And recovery and sobriety is kind of along the same lines. What works for me is not going to work for Johnny down the block. It's not assembly line, cookie cutter, one size fits all fix. The government, our judicial system, they're doing the best they can with what they have to work with. I mean, 21 million Americans right now are addicted to one thing. And I'm not talking about sweets or gambling. I'm talking about opioids, alcohol, cocaine, benzodiazepine, meth. I mean, it's a serious epidemic. I mean, it's scary. There's 130 Americans die every day from opioid. And I looked up how to say that, and I'm pretty sure I'm saying it right. Opioid. OPIOID. 130 Americans die every day from opioid overdose. In 1999 to 2017, 300,900, okay, we'll just say 400,000 Americans lost their lives to opioids. 400,000 people in a span of 18 years. Now, these big numbers, big numbers, big numbers. Okay, we'll just keep going on here. In 2017, doctors issued 100 million 90. Okay, I'm just going to round these numbers off. 200 million. Doctors issued almost 200 million opioid prescriptions. That's a slight decline from 200. Okay, that's a slight decline from what they issued every year from 2006 to 2016. I need to reread that. In 2017, doctors issued, we're going to try this number again, kids, 100 million, 191 million, 218,272. 191,218,272. Write that down, figure it out for yourself. They wrote that many opioid prescriptions. That is a slight decline from the 200,000 opioid prescriptions which they issued every year from 2006 to 2016. I read it correctly, gave you the numbers. It's pretty mind-boggling. I mean, it's a killer. I mean, these numbers, man, that's your friends, your family, people you know, people you went to school with, guys you work with, people you meet on the street, standing in Walmart. I mean, it's crazy. And about 20% to 30% of the people who take prescription opioids misuse them. I mean, the doctors do the best they can. They can't look at you and know if you're going to be addicted to them. It don't work like that. What you may not get addicted to when you're 21 doesn't mean you won't get addicted at 31 from the same pill. Time, circumstances, body chemistry, they all change. Mental health changes. All these are factors with addiction. I've done a little bit of homework. If I'm wrong about anything, please bear with me. Correct me. Please don't disrespect me. I'm doing the best I can with the numbers. I'm trying. I'm trying to do this for everybody out there like me. And there's a lot of you. There's a lot of us. But there's not going to be. We're going to drop. I mean, we're either going to wear orange or we're going to be in the dirt. That's the sad truth of it. And only 10% of us is getting treated. Okie dokie. Statistics on addiction in America. I was going over the opioid. I might have messing my notes up, but that's okay. That's okay. Oh well. Okay, we already went over that. I already went over that. 130 Americans every day. Yep. Okay. We covered opioids. Let's just throw a couple more facts in about opioids. Approximately 2.1 million Americans have an opioid use disorder. Hey, I got that number right. And about 5% of the people with the opioid use disorder will try heroin. These are straight statistics from the addiction statistic website. I can put it in a link. You can Google it. Hey, it's a Google world out there. You know what I mean? We're going to go to heroin addiction now. And we all, I mean, if you don't know what heroin is, you need to move out from under the rock you live in, out of the cave, get with the times. I mean, sorry. I mean, not everybody knows. You watch TV. Uh, Opioids are prescription pills. Heroin is the more raw form of it. About 494,000 Americans over the age of 12. Over the age of 12. Almost 500,000 Americans over the age of 12 are regular. Now, let's get that word, regular. That don't mean every once in a while. That don't mean once a year. Don't mean once a month. Regular, I'm pretty sure means almost every day. I mean, I may be wrong. Hey, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. Pull the right numbers out and put them on the comments. I mean, guys, read the comments. If I get facts wrong, I'm only human. I'm sorry. I'm trying. But, if you feel the need to correct me, please correct me. Let's get these facts out there. I'm trying to go over as many facts as I can. Okay. 2017, 886,000 Americans used heroin at least once. Well, and about 25% of the people who try heroin become addicted. A quarter of the people who try heroin become addicted. Let's see, 886,000. Well, 25% of that, I'm guessing, would be somewhere around 221,000, somewhere around that neighborhood. 221,000 become addicted. These is big numbers, people. We've got a lot of people in America, yeah. And right now, I'm just covering America. I'm not talking about the world. There's bigger countries than America, Russia. I can't even start on the statistics from there. We'll just get lost in numbers. In 2017, 81,000 Americans tried heroin for the first time. 81,000. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, though, does it? 81,000. On the next show, I'm going to see how many football fields 81,000 people laid end to end will be. And we're going to go the average 5'8". Yeah, 5'8", 81,000 people. Okay, we'll have that. We'll have that in football field links on the next show. Okay. Over 15,000 Americans died from a heroin overdose in 2017. 15,000 Americans. Now you add the Americans from the opioid, now it's opioid family. It means processed heroin into prescription pills and other synthetic pills made close to the molecular structure of heroin. Oxycontin, fentanyl. I'm assuming Dilaudid. I don't know this. I've not looked at the statistics for it or the numbers or the names, but I'm just guessing it would be pills like that. And they're just more processed, chemically made, factory made heroin. But heroin is a lot stronger and it's not regulated. And in heroin, heck, they're making fentanyl pills. They're making counterfeit pills, fentanyl, carfentanil. It's crazy. I mean, if you've heard these names, you know they're deadly. Deadly. Okay, let's move on. Cocaine. Hey, we got the big three in there. We're going to get to the big boy here in a minute. 5 million Americans are regular cocaine users. Well, I guess cocaine's what makes the world go round, huh? We thought it was heroin. But in 2017, I don't know why all these numbers are based on 2017, But there you go. We're 3 years behind on keeping track of all the dead people from overdoses. Ain't that sad? Ain't that sad in this day and age of technology? But anyway, 2017, 2.2 million Americans used cocaine at least once the previous month. At least once the previous month. Cocaine was involved in 1 out of every 5 overdose deaths in 2017. 1 out of every 5. Okay. In the next show, we're going to get the number of overdoses and we're going to graph out which drugs kill the most people. And it'll probably be for 2017, I'm assuming. But anyway, moving on. The percentage of cocaine-related overdose deaths increased by 34% from 2016 to 2017. 34%. That's a huge jump. Huge jump. Americans between the ages of 18 to 25 use cocaine more than any other age group. 18 to 25. 18 to 25, you'd assume they'd have more energy than, say, a 42-year-old like me. You would assume, but I guess they need cocaine. And, we thought Red Bull gave you wings, But anyway, there's a lot of numbers, a lot of deaths. And all these numbers will keep getting bigger every year. Because remember now, I'd say the number of people treated for these addictions do not jump like the deaths and overdoses. They don't. I'd be willing to say that right now, the number of people treated with time out. The number of people getting treated for addictions was 10% in 2017. I'd say that number is around 11.5 right now. 2017, that's 3 years. Didn't jump like the other numbers, did it? Nope, it didn't. In 2018, almost 4% of 12th graders admitted to having used cocaine at least once in their lives. Well, public schools, I'm not going to get started on that. But, like I said, the world does the best. Well, okay. United States does the best they can with what they got to work with. Life ain't perfect. The laws ain't perfect. There's nothing perfect in this world. The only thing that was ever perfect was God's Son, Jesus Christ. And we all know what happened there. Yes, I do believe in God. I do believe in Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. I do not walk the path. I need to. But I do have a relationship with God. And if you believe in God, when you pray, that's your relationship. I'm not saying I talk to God. Well, yeah, I do. I pray to Him. The majority of the time, I ask Him for peace in my heart and my mind. That helps me more than anything. And which way to go in the world. But back to the numbers here. About 964,000 Americans are addicted to meth. What year are we going at? 2017. About 10,000 Americans who regularly use meth suffered a fatal overdose in 2017. Okay, so what is that? 10,964 out of the, we'll say, million people, a million Americans addicted to meth. 10% of them. Is that right? Oh no. 0.1% of them suffered a fatal overdose. Well, 10,000 don't seem like a big number when you're talking about a million, though. But it is. Now, granted, I'm spouting these numbers off. Some of them off the top of my head. It's not on my notes here. I don't have my laptop. But anyway, we're doing the best we can with what we got. And right now, we're 20 minutes into the show, and I panicked almost every second. Who knew? But, yeah, surely I'll get funnier as the shows go on, I hope. And the number of fatal meth overdoses almost tripled from 2011 to 2016. Meth. That's a big thing where I'm from. the heroin, the prescription pills. I mean, it's a big thing everywhere. I mean, it's a pandemic. Nobody wants to use that word with drugs, especially prescription drugs. But we can't get into a whole lot of that right now because we're going to try and focus on addiction, mental health issues of addiction, reasons for addiction, uh, my personal journey through recovery, and eventually we're going to have people interview on here with me. I'll interview them, and hopefully we might be able to get somebody on Skype that's well known, famous, internet personality maybe. I don't want to mention no names. I mean, I've not talked to nobody because, granted, I've not been at this long. I got out of jail 3 days ago. I hit rock bottom in my addiction, and I ended up in jail. And let me tell you what, in all honesty, hindsight, well, not even hindsight, I can sit here and tell you I'm glad that everything happened like it did. I am personally glad because of my addictions. I've lost a whole lot. I was lucky I didn't lose my life. I was lucky I didn't lose family members while I was in jail. But I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot that meant a lot to me. I was really close to the Lord at one point in time, and I let myself go. I just let the addiction take over my life. And that's what happens. It takes over everything. It takes over your job. It takes all your money. It robs you of love, hope, happiness. I mean, we all know this. We all know it. If you don't know it, you know somebody that does. You have a family member that's dealt with addiction. You have a coworker. It's so connected. When we do get other people like me, other addicts, other people in recovery, other people dealing with their sobriety. Sobriety and recovery is two different things. I'll go over it another show. Excuse me, but it's not as simple as just walking away. There's some drugs people get addicted to. They have a chemical dependency. They have a physical dependency to them. Different drugs do different things to different people. Some you develop a mental dependency to them. It doesn't do nothing to your body. It doesn't make you sick, but your mind. It makes you think you have to have them. Your body makes you sick when you don't have them. Your body doesn't run off food and water no more. It runs off the chemicals, the drugs. That's what your body runs off of. It doesn't sound right, does it? Because you need food and water. Oh yeah, you can get by with less. Your body depends on them to go. And like, I may be wrong, I'm not a doctor, I only play one on Facebook. But hey, if I'm wrong, leave a comment. Let me find where I'm wrong. I'm gladly admit it because I'm going to try to cover as much as I can, as correctly as I can. But right now we're going to go over the first step in the recovery Bible. We're going over a lot in one show. 24 minutes. Hey, how about that? And I've only stumbled 23 minutes. Good job, Wilder. Step 1 in the recovery Bible. The paradox of powerlessness. We admitted that we are powerless over our problems, that our lives have become unmanageable. We may be afraid to admit that we are powerless and that our life is unmanageable. If we admit that we are powerless, won't we be tempted to give up completely in the struggle against our addiction? It doesn't seem to make sense that if we admit powerlessness and still find the power to go on, it's a paradox. How can you admit You're powerless, but you still go on. But you're powerless against your addiction, and you still have the power to go on. Okay, this is my theory. When you go through a traumatic event in life, that's harder for you to take than anything you've ever done. You cry, you weep, you self-pity, self-medicate. You find out how low you go. But later on, after you've kept going, after you've made it past your problems and everything dragging you down, you look back and the things that you thought made you broken, that made you feel powerless, in my personal experience, the way I looked at it and the way I felt, those are what kept me going. Those were what made me strong. I mean, I've not had the story some people have. My story is a light version. It's true. A lot of people out there have a lot more stories than me. I was lucky. I truly was. And that's why I want to do something about it. It may not be much making a video, but some of this information that I've give out will make people think. And let me tell you something. Almost every addict is one compassionate conversation away from being sober. At least trying to be sober. At least one step towards sober. Excuse me. And in any recovery or sobriety, you got to have coffee. I'm pretty sure it's in the manual somewhere, but it helps. And caffeine is another drug, though. Sugar's a drug. Anything that alters your natural body chemistry is a drug. Cigarettes. I've held on to this for 27 minutes now. But anyway, I want to go over a few more things. I've got some more notes here. And I'm really glad for you guys that listened this far in. I stumbled through a lot of information all at once. But I wanted those numbers to grab your attention, because they grabbed your attention way more than my stunning personality ever could, or my beautiful looks. Because those are big numbers. Those are your brothers and sisters out there. And they're falling behind, man. This is a war. We're soldiers. We're leaving our own behind. Every addict that gets sober needs to turn around and help their brother out of the abyss. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot that do, but we need more, because there's more still over the edge than what's made it into the clearing. A lot more. Okie dokie. Okie dokie do, neighbor. I want to read something. And when I was in jail with a guy, and he had somebody send this to him, and he read it, and it resonated with me. It's called The Man in the Glass. It was wrote by Peter Dale Wimbrow Sr. in 1934. I don't see the number right here anywhere, but I saw it earlier when I was looking for it. The Man in the Glass. I'll bring this up here so it looks like I'm looking at you guys. Hey, when you get what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, then go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't a man's father, mother, or wife whose judgment upon him must pass. The fellows whose verdict counts most in life is the man staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And you passed your most dangerous and difficult test if the man in the glass is your friend. You can pull the whole world down to the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass. But the final reward will be the heartache and tears if you cheated the man in the glass. Now that the poem is called The Man in the Glass by Peter Dale Wimbrow Sr. If you find it interesting, read it, learn it by heart. It, it's pretty strong words, at least in my opinion. And hey, I'm just one person on YouTube, man. From good old Kentucky, all weird and shit. Like some of these, my real tattoos, some of them I just got bored. Stars. See, no matter how low you ever been in your life, you can always reach up to the stars and grab them. Just because your past is sketchy and shady, don't mean you ain't got sunshine ahead. Everybody has hope, man. You gotta have hope in this world. If you don't have hope, you might as well just not be here. It's a sad way to look at it, and it's pretty rude of me to say. I lost hope at one point in time, but I kept going. At times, I didn't know how I was going. Even the drugs wasn't strong enough to make me put one foot in front of the other, but I kept going somehow. And part of my journey wasn't as bad as some people's, and there's some parts of it a little bit worse than some people's. But who am I to judge what's bad, better, or worse? Everybody's journey's bad to them. It's hard on everybody, man. Life is hard. Life is hard for everybody. There's no one set standard for any of us. And you can't look at somebody and say you got it easy. You don't know what they're dealing with up in their head. We're gonna look into mental health and issues for addiction because it plays a huge part in it. It does in mine. And in part of the show, we're going to go through my personal journey. I'm going to start living a better life. I'm going to make my quality of life better. I'm taking care of myself better. I want a better life for myself. And that starts with me being sober. And that's why I'm glad that everything happened like it did. It needed to. It had to. For the sheer reason I was going to end up in the ground. It's a sad way to look at it, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Listen, guys. Anybody out there that's dealing with addiction and sobriety, recovery, you need somebody to talk to. My name is Michael Wilder. Wilder on Facebook. Michael Shannon Wilder on Facebook. Hit my YouTube channel. I'll try to put links to my stuff. I'll talk to you. We're not going to glorify drugs. I'll tell you right now, I won't do that. I'll never do another drug the rest of my life. I don't want that life no more. That's not what I want for myself. And I'll say that till the day I die. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I didn't lose everything, but I lost enough. And that's true. That's me talking to you. I lost enough that it mattered. And it's going to affect me the rest of my days. I lost self-respect for myself. My friends and family lost self-respect for me. Respect for me. The only thing I can do is wake up, choose to be sober, put my boots on, and do what I need to do. I was a soldier at one time for the U.S. military. I was a good soldier. I mean, I wasn't all decorated out, nothing like that, but I did what I was told. I can do that pretty good. And that's what it takes to get through this. You got to be a soldier. You got to buck up. It's going to be bad days, head hurting, body aching. All you want is that a fix, man. But you know what? It ain't worth it. If you slip, that could you could do you could go get the wrong dope. There's no listen, guys. I'm gonna tell you right now. All the dope dealers do not have a meeting. They do not regulate what they sell. They some people when they make methamphetamines, they do not even measure. I mean, guys, it's a crapshoot. You're rolling them dice every time you buy a bag. Meth is cut with some wild shit. Yeah, I cussed on here. Uh, I cuss in real life, so that's the way it is. They cut it with crazy stuff, man. Heroin, they cut it with baby laxative. You hear about people doing meth with Wasper dope on it. This now, I mean, you hear all kinds of crazy stuff, and it has to be true somewhere, sometime. Now, this is a 35-minute video. I'm done for the night. But guys, you need somebody to talk to. You see somebody out there struggling, talk to them. Give them love, give them hope. Because I love every one of you all struggling. Because I was struggling. There's a few people who love me. And it helped. But, guys, guess what? Show's over. Turn me off. Go to bed. Watch me again. Laugh at me. Make fun of me. Hey, make me infamous. At least someone, somewhere, will hear this message. And it'll help them. And that's what I want. But guys, have a good night. Stay strong. Bye-bye. Is it off yet?